The doctor who burned down their family house and poisoned her husband, born in Havana, Illinois on February 28, 1951, was Deborah Green. Her childhood was relatively normal. She was very gifted in school and she taught herself how to read and write before she was 3. In school, she originally majored in chemistry but transferred to medical school and graduated in 1975. She transferred into medical school because she claims she would be more successful. Deborah married Dwayne M.J. Green while she was still in medical school, but they filed for a friendly divorce in 1978. Deborah then met Michael Farrer, who was also in medical school. They got married on May 26, 1979, and moved to Ohio. Deborah started suffering from many medical issues like insomnia, migraines, and an inflated wrist in the late 1980s. Deborah had 3 children and enrolled them at Pembroke Hill School, which is a private school in Kansas City. Her children were all involved in activities out of the house. Deborah always tried to show as a supportive mother, so she attended all of their activities. This is what one of the students' mothers had to say.
It seems like she drove her kids too hard.
Deborah's chronic pain started to increase in 1992 and she gave up. She decided to quit and be a homeowner.
Deborah was unfeeling to the patients.
She was really obsessive about her husband.
Deborah was medicating herself with sedatives and narcotics to treat her pain throughout the marriage without Michael knowing. Michael thought their marriage was never ideal since they've never spoken lovingly to each other. Michael also claims Deborah has a lack of coping skills that most adults have. Michael says that when she has episodes, she goes into rage and hurts herself and others and breaks things in public or private. Michael got away by working long hours away from home. When Deborah and Michael fought, Deborah would run to the kids and tell them now the kids would disobey their father to the point of having physical altercations. Michael asked Deborah for a divorce in January 1994 and she refused. She thought he was having an affair and she threw a fit, so Michael moved out and stayed in contact to share custody of their children. In June 1995, there was a Peru trip sponsored by Pembroke Hill School, and Michael met Margaret Hacker, whose children also attended the school, and they started having an affair shortly after returning home. Michael asked Deborah again for a divorce in late July, but she refused in fear of a broken family, which would disqualify their kids from special events. Michael refused to move out because he thinks Deborah would consume large amounts of alcohol while watching the children. It was just a typical day before the fire, according to Deborah and their children, when they went to school along with attending their activities. Deborah had a few alcoholic drinks after dinner and then went to her bedroom. Around midnight, Deborah claimed she was awoken by the sound of the fire alarm system. She said she assumed that the sound was a false alarm caused by her dogs triggering the burglar alarm, so she tried to shut it off by the control panel in her bedroom, but it continued sounding. Deborah then opened her bedroom door and found smoke in the hallway. Deborah ran out of the house to the deck that connected to her first-floor bedroom. While on the deck, Deborah heard Tim on the home's intercom system asking what he should do. She told him to wait for the firefighters to arrive and ran to the neighbor's house to call 911. When Deborah arrived back at the house, she found Kate, who had climbed through the second-floor bedroom window onto the roof of their garage and managed to get onto the ground safely. A detective arrived around 5:30 in the morning and told them that Tim and Kelly were found dead. She wanted to be the one to tell Michael, but she didn't. Deborah was then released from the police station the morning of October 24th. Michael gave her money for a hotel since he wouldn't let her stay with him. Deborah saw her lawyer, Ellen Ryan, there later in the day. Deborah continued asking why her children died. Deborah was then transported to a local hospital for treatment, but she still remained emotionally unstable even after the hospital. It was alerted by detectives that Michael could have been poisoned months prior to the fire. A clerk reported Deborah had come into the store and bought a 10-pack of Riken for a school project. Deborah Green was arrested on November 22nd in Kansas City, Missouri. Deborah was now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and 1 count of aggravated arson. She was held in a Missouri jail, then transported to Johnson County Adult Detention Center in Kansas with a $3 million bond, which is the highest bail ever asked for in Johnson County. After conviction, Deborah continued to stress her sentence that she had very faint memories left of the night of the fire, even writing a letter to her daughter saying she took more medication than recommended that night. She wrote multiple letters to Michael saying she had memory and she is innocent of arson. Deborah also says that Margaret Hacker set fire to their family's house and that Tim was the one that poisoned Michael. There were more letters found written to Ann Rule saying Deborah couldn't believe she had the mental capacity to set a fire because of alcohol abuse. She got a new legal team and filed a request for a new trial saying that she was taking medication during the hearing and couldn't make decisions. Deborah claimed that her original attorney failed to represent her. She withdrew the request when threatened with the death penalty. Deborah Green filed for a second request for a new trial when the Kansas Supreme Court ruled the state's death penalty unconstitutional, but it was denied in February of 2005.